If you're targeting blackfin tuna and mahi offshore, having the right trolling lure can make all the difference. Today, we're breaking down the top 10 best trolling lures for mahi and blackfin tuna, ranked by fishability, consistency, versatility, durability, and real-world performance. From classic offshore trolling lures that have been catching fish for decades to newer designs that continue putting tuna and mahi in the boat. These are the lures we trust every time we leave the inlet. My name is Dylan, and let's get right into this video. So starting off at number 10, we have the Iland Tracker lure. Iland has been producing offshore trolling lures for decades, and the Tracker remains one of their most dependable options for mahi and blackfin tuna. Its simple design creates a clean, consistent swimming action that works exceptionally well when trolled behind ballyhoo or rigged by itself. One of the biggest advantages of the Tracker is its versatility. It performs well in a wide range of sea conditions and can easily be added to almost any trolling spread. The only downside is that it doesn't create quite as much surface commotion as some of the larger trolling lures on this list. If you're looking for a proven offshore lure that continues to produce year after year, the Iland Tracker lure is a great place to start. Now at number 9 is the C&H Stubby Bubbler. This lure has become an offshore classic for one simple reason: it catches fish. The Stubby Bubbler throws an impressive smoke trail while maintaining a tight swimming action that blackfin tuna and mahi simply love. It's especially productive when fish are feeding aggressively near the surface, making it a great choice for calm mornings or when birds begin working. One of its biggest strengths is how easy it is to troll. It performs well at a variety of speeds and rarely needs constant adjustment. The only drawback is that it performs best in cleaner water compared to some of the larger chuggers on this list. For anglers looking for a dependable everyday trolling lure, the Stubby Bubbler continues to deliver. Now at number 8, we have the No Alibi Trolling Feather. Few offshore lures have earned the reputation that No Alibi feathers have over the years. Their lightweight design creates an incredible natural swimming action that closely imitates small bait fish, making them deadly on blackfin tuna. They're also one of our favorite lures when mahi are feeding on smaller bait schools because of how the presentation looks in the water. One of the biggest advantages is how simple these lures are. There are no moving parts or complicated rigging. Just tie one on and start fishing. The only downside is that the feathers don't create as much splash or surface disturbance as the larger trolling lures. Still, when tuna get picky, it's hard to beat a good quality feather. Now at number 7 is the Drone Spoon. The Drone Spoon has probably caught more kingfish than almost anything ever made, but don't let that fool you. It can absolutely be deadly on blackfin tuna and mahi as well. Its tight wobbling action perfectly imitates an injured bait fish, making it especially effective when fish are feeding on smaller glass minnows, sardines, or flying fish. We especially like running drone spoons further back in the spread, where their natural action really shines. The only downside is that spoons can occasionally twist their leader if they're not rigged correctly. If you're looking for one of the simplest yet most productive offshore lures ever made, the Drone Spoon deserves a spot in your tackle box. Now at number 6, we've got the Yo-Zuri High-Speed Vibe. Yo-Zuri has built an incredible reputation for producing realistic offshore lures, and the High-Speed Vibe is no exception. Designed to hold its action even at faster trolling speeds, this lure excels when you're covering water searching for scattered schools of mahi and blackfin tuna. Its detailed finish and aggressive vibration create a presentation that's incredibly hard for predators to ignore. One of its biggest strengths is versatility. Whether you're trolling calm seas or pushing through rougher offshore conditions, it continues to swim consistently. The only downside is that premium construction comes with a slightly higher price tag. But if you're looking for a modern trolling lure that performs in almost every offshore situation, the Yo-Zuri High-Speed Vibe is an outstanding choice. Now cracking the top 5 is the C&H Rattle Jet, and if we had to pick one color, it's definitely pink. The Rattle Jet has been an offshore favorite for years because it combines two things predators can't resist: noise and aggressive action. As it moves through the water, the internal rattle creates extra vibration, while the jet head throws a thick smoke trail that helps fish locate the lure from a distance. We've found this lure to be especially effective when trolling for mahi around weed lines and floating debris. One of its biggest advantages is how much water it moves, making it easy for fish to find even when visibility isn't perfect. The only downside is that it creates enough drag that lighter tackle can struggle with it. But if you're looking for a loud, aggressive trolling lure that consistently raises fish, the pink C&H Rattle Jet deserves a permanent spot in your spread. Now at number 4 is the Mahi Chugger. Few lures create surface commotion quite like a good chugger. Every time this lure pops and throws water, it imitates fleeing baitfish and immediately grabs the attention of predators nearby. We love running a chugger when searching for scattered mahi because it calls fish in from long distances. It's also one of those lures that seems to wake up lazy tuna that otherwise ignore quieter presentations. One of its biggest strengths is versatility. Whether you're trolling weed lines, floating pallets, or open blue water, the Mahi Chugger always seems to have a place in the spread. Now the only downside is that rough seas can sometimes make tuning the lure a little more difficult. But if you're chasing mahi offshore, a quality chugger is one lure you never want to leave back at your dock. Now at number 3 we have the Cedar Plug. Sometimes the oldest lures are still the best, and the Cedar Plug proves exactly that. This simple piece of cedar has been catching tuna around the world for decades and continues to outfish far more expensive lures on many days. Its subtle swimming action perfectly imitates a fleeing baitfish, making it absolutely deadly on blackfin tuna. It's also surprisingly effective on mahi, especially when fish are feeding aggressively on small bait. One of the biggest advantages of a Cedar Plug is its simplicity. There's nothing complicated about it, it just works. The only downside is that it lacks the flash and surface commotion of some newer trolling lures. Still, if you're serious about catching tuna, every offshore boat should have at least one Cedar Plug rigged and ready to go. Now at number 2 we have the Williamson Flash Feather. This lure has become one of the most trusted offshore trolling lures for blackfin tuna and mahi because it simply catches fish. The combination of natural feather movement and flash creates a presentation that predators find incredibly difficult to ignore. We've had some incredible days pulling flash feathers through schools of feeding tuna, and they're equally effective around weed lines where mahi are actively feeding. One of its biggest strengths is consistency. It performs well in calm water, rough water, and at a wide range of trolling speeds. The only downside is that after catching enough fish, you'll eventually need to replace the feathers. But if you're only buying one proven offshore trolling lure, besides our number 1 pick, the Williamson Flash Feather is hard to beat. And finally, taking the number 1 spot is definitely the Tuna and Mahi Striker. This lure is a little different from everything else on this list, because it wasn't something we designed overnight. It took countless offshore trips, testing different shapes, skirt materials, colors, and hook configurations until we finally built a lure that consistently outperformed everything else we were running. What makes this lure different is that it doesn't imitate a single baitfish. Instead, it mimics a small school of squid swimming through the water, and that profile has been absolutely deadly for both blackfin tuna and mahi. Our favorite way to fish it is behind a bird teaser. The bird creates a commotion that grabs the fish's attention, while the Tuna and Mahi Striker follows just behind it, looking like a group of squid trying to escape. Time and time again, that's been one of the most productive combinations we've ever fished. Another thing that makes this lure unique is the 3-hook design. Blackfin tuna and mahi are almost always traveling in schools, so instead of making a pass and only hooking one fish, this lure gives you the opportunity to hook multiple fish at once. We've had days offshore where we've hooked 3 blackfin tuna on a single lure, and we've experienced the same exact thing with mahi. Those moments are the reason we designed it the way we did. One of its biggest strengths is how consistently it produces fish. Whether we're trolling weed lines, open blue water, or working around bait schools, if we're putting together a trolling spread tomorrow, the Mahi and Tuna Striker is the very first lure we're putting in the water. So there you have it, our top 10 best trolling lures for blackfin tuna and mahi in 2026. Whether you're just getting started offshore or you're looking to fine-tune your trolling spread, every lure on this list has proven itself on the water and deserves a place in your tackle box. Let me know in the comments below now, what's your go-to trolling lure when you're offshore? But we hope you guys enjoyed this tackle guide, and we'll see you in the next Barjack's fishing video.